This is Ron Higgins with the Shreveport-Bossier Journal.com and theronhiggins.com here after preseason practice number 10 at LSU on Tuesday. And it was Barbie Media Day here at LSU. Just kidding. But my personal tribute to Barbie. Haven't seen the movie, but media members asked me if I've seen the Barbie movie today. So I guess that's a hint. All this paint made people think that I'm a big Barbie buff. Okay, whatever. Anyway, Barbie aside, let's discuss the LSU Tigers preseason practice number 10. Again, another brutally hot day. I say this every day. All the media says it every day. We don't think it can get it much hotter than it probably does. This team is preparing really well for the season over. I mean, look, they're not going to be fatigued. They've gone through hell and back with this heat and humidity. They should be good to go by the time September 3rd rolls around, if they're not all worn out by then. But I think that Brian Kelly's done a really good job of really watching, the heat, how much they practice outside, make sure they get all the water, all the liquids that they need, and you see people. I mean, they have ice baths. They got everything possible to keep this team, from getting heat stroke, because it can happen really easy out here. And then what we saw today, well, we were in about an hour and 15 minutes of media. We saw what we've seen every day. We saw, like a lot of 7-on-7, some 11-on-11. Something we've noticed in the last few practices is it's not so much the LSU quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier, but it's in 7-on-7 drills. They're having to hold the ball longer because receivers aren't getting open. It's not necessarily the receivers are not doing a bad job getting open, or the quarterbacks are not spotting them. It's just that there's been a really good communication between the linebackers and the defensive backs. You can see how much has improved from practice to practice, and that on the field, just communication has meant everything. You can tell these guys are starting to get on the same page. I mean, you have you have a lot of new defensive backs back there. Deuce Chestnut, Syracuse, Ashton Stamps, a freshman. Andre Sam, a transfer, I think, from Marshall. You got a lot of new guys in the secondary, and linebacker, you have all returnees. I mean, they have Harold Perkins going to the middle linebacker, but you have mostly returnees at linebacker. So I mean, there's a transition period, but there's been a lot of really good communication the past few days. It's been noticeable, and it's been noticeable in 7-on-7 drills when these quarterbacks keep looking and looking and looking, and there's no one really open. They have to kind of check down to a back. So kudos to the linebackers and the defensive backfield for kind of accelerating and getting on the same page here. I mean, they've done a really nice job with that. Also, one thing it's hard not to notice is how much depth LSU has at so many positions. I mean, we've talked about the 8 running backs they have, and all of them are good. I mean, we talked about the 5 tight ends. A second offensive line that's good. We got a second defensive line that's good. I mean, Jacoby Gilroy yesterday, the defensive tackle, talked about how having that depth on the defensive line and will allow he and Wingo and Mason Smith to play to 100% every play, because they know they have people who can come in and play 100% for them, so they can give 100% every play, knowing they have depth behind them that'll come in and play 100%. And that's a very good thing. But that depth is shown up there. It shows up at wide receiver. There might be a little bit of a worry at cornerback right now. I mean, Ohio State transfer is out with a leg injury, and he probably won't be back. I think it's been chronicled. Denver Harris, Texas A&M sophomore transfer, was not here on the field today. Maybe he's quit, maybe he hadn't. I think it's one of those things. Brian Kelly will eventually address it, but like most coaches, he doesn't really want to talk about the people who aren't here. He wants the people who are here, slugging it out in this sweat and this heat, trying to get better. So when a guy quits, he kind of quits. As far as coach is concerned, they don't like guys quitting, but if the guy wants to give up and quit, I mean, he can. We haven't had an official word on Denver Harris. it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to transfer from one place to another and quit. It really doesn't. I mean, how many times can you transfer? I mean, obviously, there's some guys who keep doing it, and NCAA, I think they try to shore the transfer world somewhere. You can't keep transferring, but it comes a point, you got to man up and decide whether you're going to play the place you're at, or not play at all, or unless you're like LSU running back Trey Bradford, who started LSU, and then transferred to Oklahoma, and then came back to LSU, and then quit for a year, and now it's back in here at LSU. Brian Kelly accepted him back. It was on, Bradford had to do everything to get back to school to do that, and he's played really well out here. Again, 1 to 8 back. So, what we're seeing out here in this heat is that this is a team with a lot of depth, has a lot of good leadership, has a lot of returnees. There's a reason they're a preseason number 5 pick by the AP and the coaches. They think they're going to be really good, and of course, you got your first big test, the first game at Florida State. You'll find out right away. I think Florida State's number 8 in the poll, so you find out right away how good you are. But anyway, from what we see the last few days out here, this team is making progress despite the heat. They're tightened up the ship in certain places, like the communication. So I'm sure Brian Kelly feels good about what he's seen so far, but I'm sure also that he knows there's a long way to go before the season opener. He'll take advantage of every minute of that. So today on my YouTube channel, Ron Higgins, you will have this video. You will have a Garrett Nussmeier interview, Greg Penn III interview, among others. And having Garrett Nussmeier, there was a treat. We haven't had a chance to talk to him since the bowl game, or before probably, and I think he was ready to talk to the media. I mean, he was ready to tell his side of the story why he stayed. It's a good deal. I'll be writing about that on ronhiggins.com and the Shreveport-Bossier Journal tomorrow, so I won't divulge too much of that. But you can go to my YouTube channel, Ron Higgins, and see all the videos. There's a couple of practice videos on there of some defensive back and linebacker tackling drills, some offensive lineman run block drills. You can always find all the videos on my YouTube channel, Ron Higgins, and on my website, theronhiggins.com. So, ending up with all the shameless plugs, this is Ron Higgins from Shreveport-Bossier Journal.com and theronhiggins.com. Sam will come back at you tomorrow, which I'm sure again be 1,000 degrees, but I won't be out in my Barbie up for tomorrow. My Barbie is being hung up this afternoon, and I'll try it out again sometime this year. We'll see. Thanks for watching.